Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with another edition of CWN Weekly, episode number 14. Date today is Friday, November the 20th, 2020. And people should be going to Vegas if we could, but we can't. So Niagara Falls, if you can get there. Anyways, so it is November 20th. It is, like I said, episode number 14. If you're watching or listening live, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you're listening on replay, thank you very much as well. Hit the like, subscribe button, all that sort of jazz. And thanks for doing that. Last week, as you'll know, episode number 13, when I got off the air, a little bit stumbling my words. Obviously, the tears were coming to my eyes. I had a family member pass away at the age of 18 years old due to type 1 diabetes. Funeral was this past week. Interesting enough to see a funeral take place on TV, so to speak. So, I got the link for the live stream after the funeral had taken place earlier that morning. Watched it with my wife, and thoughts and prayers out to my family down there in St. John, New Brunswick, as well as Jonathan's parents, Jimmy and Mary May, his sister Gabriella, and just my thoughts and prayers and my love all to you guys. But that was the end of episode 13 last week, as I'd received the news 2 days prior about his passing. So he is in a better place. Like I said, he passed away type 1 diabetes. It was tough because some of the stuff that had come out was that his blood sugar was so high that no amount of insulin in the world would have been able to save him. 18 years old, basically was on his way to become a member of the RCMP here in Canada. Huge future life ahead of him, majorly into hockey. Didn't necessarily root for the right team, though. He was a Blackhawks fan. I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, as well as a Jersey Devils fan. But thoughts and prayers, like I said, with my family, with his parents, and with his sister. And like I said, if you saw episode 13 at the very end, that was me paying tribute towards my cousin, Jonathan, who, like I said, passed away at the age of 18. So repose en paix. I hope I pronounced that properly, but it just stands for rest in peace to my cousin Jonathan there. So 18 years old. And we will move on into the show here. So birthdays, anniversaries, guys, taking place now through November the 26th. So Felicia Phenom Spencer, born 1990. So she is 30 years old, UFC fighter, fights in the featherweight division over there. Anniversary. So this day back in 2016, so only 4 years ago, WWE Survivor Series 2016 takes place at the Air Canada Centre, Toronto, Ontario. Goldberg defeats Lesnar in the main event. And, weird to think it was only 4 years ago that Goldberg made that the epic return that led into the Mania matches and feuds with the he had that one horrible match with the Undertaker, but anyways, the Goldberg versus Lesnar thing was great. I got to see them in SummerSlam. I guess it would have been 2019. Goldberg had took on Dolph Ziggler there. So, but 2016 was the reemergence of Goldberg, again stemming from the WWE video game series, much like Kurt Angle made his return and Sting finally made his presence felt in the WWE there. So that was 4 years ago today. 21 years ago tomorrow, so on the 21st, WCW Mayhem 1999 took place. Air Canada Centre in Toronto as well. Main event there saw Bret the Hitman Hart defeating Chris Benoit for the vacant WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, 21 years ago tomorrow. 22nd, which is on Sunday, Archie the Mongolian Stomper Gouldy was born in 1936. He ended up passing away January 23rd, 2016 at the age of 79. But a happy birthday there to the Mongolian Stomper. And then as well, the 23rd, which is on Monday, one and only Gene Kiniski, 1928, he was born. He ended up passing away on April 14th, 2010 at the age of 81. But yeah, happy birthday to Gene Kiniski. Rumor has it, and the only reason I say this because I was too young to know, but rumor has it when I moved to London, Ontario in 1988, and I was only here a year, but I moved to London in 1988, and I was sitting at the townhouse complex that my family had rented at that time, and I was sitting outside, and there was kids in the neighborhood. So being the new kid, being introduced to all the kids in the neighborhood, everything else, and I remember sitting there, and this old guy sitting in a lawn chair, and he's telling me the story how he used to be a wrestler, and like this was 1988. So I'm thinking to myself, you got Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Randy Macho Man Savage, Ted DiBiase, and here's this old guy telling me that he used to be a wrestler. And the next thing, okay, what's your name? And he goes, Gene Kiniski. And I swear to God, it wasn't a dream. I swear to God that actually took place. And not 100% sure it did. It might have been a dream, but the fact is, to me, my memory of that moment, sitting in the summertime, the guy sitting in a lawn chair. But anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts on Gene Kiniski. That's my personal approach to it. I don't know if he had any ties in London, Ontario. So if anybody out there listening or watching, let me know if he had ties to London, Ontario. So it'd be kind of cool though, as a kid, just moving to Ontario at the age of 12 years old. Meeting Gene Kiniski. So that would be kind of cool there. As well, and I can't miss this one. So yesterday, my wife, Christine, who's on CWNonline.ca, contributor, celebrated her 40th birthday. So happy birthday to my beautiful wife. It's weird because she got better looking since I've known her. That's only been 6 years. And I kind of got old and kind of gained a little bit of weight, grew the beard. So she kind of went one way to be more beautiful. I kind of went the other way, but she still puts up with me. But it was unique because she's a teacher here in Ontario, and she taught the day at school, and then we went out for dinner last night, and we went to one of our favorite pubs that we used to always go to prior to COVID, and prior to our 2.5-year-old daughter as well. And it was weird being there because it was still the same bar and all the memories and everything else that existed. And I'm talking like New Year's Eves and St. Patty's Days and everything else. And then all of a sudden being there and being so quiet and looking around and, no people and plexiglass, everything else all over the place. So it was a very unique night last night, just being at the pub that we went to. But we spent some good money on some appetizers, had a couple beers as well. And it was all good. But again, happy 40th birthday to my wife, Christine Perchi of CWNonline.ca. And fact is, I didn't know this till last night. So we're flipping the channels of the TV. She has never seen A Christmas Story. So anybody who ever meets her, fill her in on why she should watch A Christmas Story. To me, it was one of those things where my mom at Christmas time, and this was back in the day where they had gone and, VHS and VCRs and everything else. And they used to have stores you can go into and rent these VHS tapes and then bring them home. And you'd have them for 2 or 3 days, and then you have to return them. You pay like $5 for the 2 or 3 day rental. Well, my mom at Christmas time used to get A Christmas Story for me. So every year I used to watch A Christmas Story, and it was kind of cool. But like I said, my wife has never seen A Christmas Story. And I'm flipping the channels last night. I think it was Amazon Prime. And there's a Christmas Story, but it's like the making of the Christmas Story or something like that. So I haven't watched that yet, but it was interesting to know that she's never seen that movie. So I got to get her watching that movie before Christmas time this year. But yeah, that is birthdays and anniversaries for this week. And I kind of teased my wife yesterday on Facebook, just becoming the big 40. But like I said, she doesn't look it, and I kind of look ancient sometimes. So it's a good pairing there. News of the week. So I went off the air last week. Zelina Vega got released. That was on the 13th, and so the big story about this is she was basically told, hey, we need you to sign this new contract and get rid of your Twitch and get rid of all your social media feeds and basically hand them over to us. Or see you later. We're gonna fire you. And she basically said, no, I'm not doing that. So they basically let her go. And that was all the gist of it from WWE.com. Well, when you start reading the stories throughout the week, basically what happens is she was making more money off of Twitch than anything else. And to basically take the hit and say, see you later to Twitch, and then basically go and stay with contract with the WWE, where basically she's being told what to do. She's making less money over there and being told what to do, you know what I mean? And her husband, Aleister Black, has been put on the shelf, too many times over in the past year. So she made a choice, and she's sticking by her decision, and she has a 90-day no compete. It'd be interesting to see if she ends up in AEW. I think that's probably the only place you could see her is probably AEW. But I don't think I think if that happens, it's only a matter of time before you start seeing others be over there as well, much like Aleister Black. Andrade, Charlotte Flair. So Andrade was associated with Zelina Vega. I don't think he's ever going to end up over there. But the fact is, because of Charlotte Flair, obviously, and the legacy she has with WWE. But never say never. But Zelina Vega kind of basically stepping up to the WWE and saying, see you later. I don't need you guys. So I'll get more into that throughout the show, because there's a little bit more news I want to talk about as well as last Friday. Now, this was when the show was over, so I was watching Smackdown. Chelsea Green makes her debut backstage, and she's smiling there with the bald dude there, Adam Pearce. And all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, Chelsea Green's here. And then she gets put in the three-way match and makes it a fatal four-way with herself and then Liv Morgan, Tamina Snuka, and then Natalya. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, she's just out of focus. She's not on camera anymore. And then basically it's kind of like, okay, where the heck did she go? And Liv Morgan ends up winning the match. And then it's announced that she suffers a broken left wrist after, during the match. So SmackDown debut, and she's been sitting on the shelf for a while. She comes on TV and she ends up breaking her wrists, but she's in good spirits. She was posted on Twitter as well as Instagram with regards to her injury, kind of poking fun of herself as well. Thoughts and prayers are with her for a healthy and speedy recovery. But Chelsea Green got called up to the main roster, which was kind of cool. Talk and Shop a Mania 2. Rise of the Torturer took place last Saturday. I haven't had a chance to see it, so I can't really talk about it. But there are, basically reports as well as results all over the place, including CWNonline.ca. One thing I did watch last Saturday was Turning Point, Impact Wrestling presented Turning Point on Impact Plus. So highlights of the event. Rich Swann ended up retaining against, I think it was Sami Callihan in the main event there. I'm just going through the results from memory here. Eddie Edwards defeats Daivari. What else we got here? Rosemary, Taya Valkyrie, Jordan Grace, as well as Tenille Dashwood. So Tenille being Tenille basically said, I don't want to be a part of this match after a good probably couple minutes because she was busy taking selfies and shots and everything else. And Jordan started getting mad at her and stuff. But Rosemary, Taya Valkyrie came out strong in that one, which was good because the tag team tournament has started. And I'll get into that just momentarily as well. Brian Myers beat up on Swoggle, as he's known now. From there, we get into where we hear Chris Sabin, James Storm looked really, really strong. So you got two former world champions, two former amazing world tag team champions with different partners, and then they beat up on Triple XL, so they look strong there. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this, considering the fact you've got Alex Shelley on the shelf at the moment. Defeat Rohit Challenge. Basically, he ends up facing, it was Jake Diener. And then basically, this is where he wins. And sorry, I'm just going through the notes quickly here. Joe Dorian comes out with Eric Young and destroys them all. And Cody Deaner is part of that as well. So Cody got destroyed as well. Moose defeated Willie Mack and basically couldn't stop himself from beating him up. So what had happened is Willie Mack ended up scoring the victory because the referee reversed his decision. From there, we get into the tag team championship match. So the Good Brothers are new tag team champions. The North have been defeated. I'll get more into that during the show as well. And then basically we get into the semi-main event, which was Su Yung, Deonna Purrazzo. Purrazzo ends up taking the belt off of Su Yung, so she is the new champion. We get into the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship tournament being announced, the brackets. I'll get into that momentarily as well. And then basically not match of the night, but main event was Rich Swann defeating Sami Callihan to win to retain the championship there. So, guys, it was a good pay-per-view. It was on Impact Plus, so they do have the 30-day free trial, so you can go over there to Impact Plus, I think .tv, sign up for a free trial. It's 30 days. All you have to do is put in your email address and then like a debit card or a credit card or whatever. You cancel before the month is up and you don't get charged at all. Otherwise, it's $9.99 a month. But they've got that one. And then they've got Final Resolution coming up as well. And I think that's on December 12th. I'll just check my notes here. But where are we here? Knockouts Tag Team Champion. I'll get into that in a second. Yeah, but Final Resolution takes place Impact Plus December 12th. So that's another kind of freebie. So like I said, you go over there, you use your email address as well as a debit or credit card, and you can sign up for free. And like I said, as long as you go and you cancel before the end of the 30 days, you don't get charged at all. So it's a good way to watch wrestling on a Saturday night because they've been doing the Saturday night pay-per-views as of late. Next one's coming up is Hard to Kill, I think, and that is in January 16th, I want to say. So, guys, as I was saying, the Knockouts Tag Team tournament here. So we've had one match to take place on Impact this week, but the brackets are this. Tenille Dashwood and Alicia, Havoc and Nevaeh. So Havoc and Nevaeh have gone through. They beat up on Tenille and Alicia. Again, Tenille being Tenille, she couldn't be trusted, couldn't go and put on a tag team match with anybody but herself, so to speak. So Havoc and Nevaeh move on. We've got Killer Kelly and Renee Michelle. in the next bracket, taking on Jordan Grace and to be determined. Now, this is going to be interesting because the fact is Jordan Grace got on the phone with somebody at Backstage Impact segment from this past Tuesday and was talking to somebody on the phone and said, I want to catch you before you actually retire. And great, I'll see you next week. So I haven't heard spoilers at all about this. And I don't really want to because I'm Impact Wrestling fan. But the fact is, it'll be interesting to see who Jordan Grace's partner is. So we'll have to wait and see next week who that's going to be. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steeles in the next against the Sea Stars. I think I got to see them at a show in Toronto last summer. Now, I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but I know they're a big name team. I think they were part of Shimmer, and I think that's why they were there. But it was part of the women's show that I had seen last August, so not this past August, but August of 2019. But they're a big name, so it'd be interesting to see there as well, because you've got two Impact stars in Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steeles against the Sea Stars. And then last bracket is Deonna Purrazzo, Kimber Lee. So Deonna being the new Impact Knockouts champion, taking on Taya and Rosemary. And they had a backstage promo as well on Impact Wrestling. And it was basically Kimber Lee saying she wants a title for herself, and Purrazzo basically being like, I can't have too many titles. So it'll be interesting there to see what they do with that. But if I were to take a guess on first round, now Havoc and Nevaeh I would have picked anyways. I'm gonna say Jordan Grace and to be announced, and I'm curious who this to be announced is. I'm gonna say Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steeles, and I'm gonna say Taya and Rosemary, and I'll go from there. But I think the dark horse would honestly be Deonna and Kimber Lee, and whether or not they challenge for the tag team championships in the main event, the finals there. That would be the only thing I would probably maybe change, but I don't know, guys. Like I said, Impact Plus available for free, so to speak, for 30 days using your credit card as well as an email address. So check that out if you get a chance. And like I said, I've always been a huge fan of Impact Wrestling. From there, where are we? Ethan Page talks contract status with Impact and losing the tag team titles. That was on YouTube. It was kind of a clip. He was all serious. I think it was only about a 2-minute clip. And then all of a sudden you see this guy punch him out, and then you see the Karate Man on screen. So it's interesting because of the fact Impact Wrestling recently losing the Rascals, and it's going to be interesting to see how WB, if that's the rumor, if that's what's true, uses these guys. Well, with Ethan Page, he floated around with Abyss when he was over there, and now all of a sudden he's found his calling, and the North are one of the strongest tag teams in the world. I think they were ranked number 4 as far as the PWI goes. And he was all excited because he was actually on the cover of PWI. But him and Josh Alexander, and I'm a local boy, so the fact is I'm an Ontario independent wrestling fan, and I've heard the name of Ethan Page, I've heard the name Josh Alexander for like a long time. And with these guys being the team that they are in Impact Wrestling, I can't see Ethan Page taking off at this point. I think if anything at all, he's going to honor Josh Alexander. So his contract is up at the end of the year. Josh Alexander, rumor has it, he's still with Impact Wrestling till the end of 2021. So why not sign Ethan Page till the end of 2021, have his contract coincide with Josh Alexander, and then basically go and have the two of these guys decide at the end of next year what they want to do. If they want to split the team up, for the time being, or have Ethan Page have an alter ego with the Karate Man, it'd be great TV. And especially, like I said, with them losing the Rascals, they're kind of losing that comic effect, so to speak, as far as the promotion goes. But I can't see Ethan Page moving on to AEW or WB at this point. But like I said, Impact Wrestling would be smart if they sign into a contract extension, at least to coincide with Josh Alexander's, and keep them on the same page that way. Because to me, you can't have one without the other. ROH mourns the passing of Maryland independent star pro wrestling trainer RJ Meyer. Just going to quickly bring this up. Wasn't familiar with his name, but a lot of shout outs after his passing with regards to who he was as an individual. So this is our ROHWrestling.com. Ring of Honor is saddened to learn that longtime Maryland independent wrestling star, respected pro wrestling trainer RJ Meyer has died after a battle with leukemia. 44 years old. That hits home because it's the exact same age I am. Meyer, who performed in the ring as Bruiser, was a top star for Maryland Championship Wrestling. MCW, one of the leading independent promotions in pro wrestling for nearly 20 years. He also worked as the head trainer at MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center, which is an affiliate of ROH, and worked behind the scenes at Future of Honor shows. Some of the wrestlers he trained include 2016 Top Prospect Tournament winner Leo Rush, Patrick Clark, otherwise known as the Velveteen Dream, Soldiers of Savagery, which is Moses and Khan, Future of Honors, Dante Calbalero, Joe Keys, and Gia Scott. Myers also had a hand in training Lita and Mickey James. ROH extends its deepest condolences to Myers' families, friends, and fans. So again, like I said, he was 44 years old, and that hits home because it's same age as me, but a lot of shout-outs online. Mandy Leon from ROH as well. There's a lot of others. Just thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Leukemia at 44 years old, but that is tough. And it's been a hard, tough year for wrestling and deaths, and not necessarily the same type we used to have, 15 years ago, so to speak, but it's guys passing away, due to health concerns and everything else. And thoughts and prayers are with them all. And like I said, RIP to RJ Meyer there, passed away at the age of 44 due to leukemia. SAG-AFTRA president says group will directly engage with the wrestlers. So this is one of the things I was talking about earlier. I would touch base on just a little bit more. So this had come out on November 16th, and this was with regards to Zelina Vega being released from the WWE. So basically, given to Spectrum Sports' 360's John Alba, Gabrielle Carteres, who people know from Beverly Hills 90210, is the SAG president, I believe. She goes, wrestling is as much about media as it is about sports, and we're going to directly engage with members of the profession to help find ways for them to protect themselves. As more people reinvest in unions and as more people are harassed by employers who don't want to protect them, SAG-AFTRA is committed to doing what we can to help professional wrestlers secure the protections they deserve. And then SAG-AFTRA has 160,000 actors, announcers, broadcast journalists, dancers, DJs, news writers, news editors, and so forth. So this is huge simply because of the fact it's going to be, to me, a step in the right direction as far as the pro wrestling business goes in 2021. Whether or not we see anything happen from it, I don't know. But where you've got Andrew Yang nipping at the heels of the WWE, as well as SAG-AFTRA now basically looking to protect the workers, unionize the workers, so to speak. And it's going to be interesting because it's something Jesse the Body Ventura had tried to do, and he kind of got blacklisted because of it. But the fact is, when it comes down to it, these guys, they go out there, they don't have health insurance. If they have medical issues and they end up passing away, a lot of times GoFundMes are set up to help with healthcare costs as well as funeral costs, everything else. I know Kamala, when he ended up passing away, it was tough because the fact is there was a GoFundMe accounts as well for him. It's tough because you watch these guys on screen and they're treated like superstars and they're treated like royalty. And to fans, they're absolutely it's tough when you hear about them going through health issues or you hear about them passing away, because it's like, you remember how big and larger than life they were on TV. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you hear about them passing away. And it's like, people setting up donation funds to help them with the costs. And, it's one of the things that was mentioned was the whole thing with regards to, costs after they've retired, so to speak, and this and that. Union dues. So set it up for union dues. Have these guys, if they want to get ahead with it, have like a $5,000 or $10,000 that they put immediately towards this union due. So they set themselves up for at least a couple of years post their wrestling careers, give them jobs with producing, give them jobs with, marketing or whatever the case may be. But it's tough because when you watch the NFL, you watch NBA, Major League Baseball, you see a lot of these guys transition into announcers or coaches or scouts or whatever the case may be. With wrestling, it's basically, to me, almost off the top of my head, 25-75. So 25% of these guys stay with the wrestling business. 75% of these guys try to go out on their own, and you see them working independent shows into the 60s and 70s. So it's tough. I know wrestling needs change, and I think with SAG-AFTRA, as well as Andrew Yang, like I said, nipping at the heels of WWE, I think it's going to be a different 2021 for WWE. Marty Bell Marty Bell no longer under contract with the NWA. That came out on the 17th, so much the same as Allison Kay. We haven't seen her pop up anywhere yet, but Marty Bell has a unique persona, as well as she's good in the ring. So it'll be interesting to see where she goes and what happens with her. Report, Mandy Rose's shoulder injury is legitimate. That was on the 17th as well. So Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke replaced by Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce for Survivor Series 20. So Mandy Rose is legitimate injury is Mandy Rose's injury. Yeah, maybe I should just get off the airways. Mandy Rose's shoulder injury is legit, so I'll leave it at that. Becky Lynch shows off baby bump in Instagram reveal. So Becky Lynch is getting close. Rumor has it Seth Rollins is going to take some time off, so that is good for him. And they're good for the two of them as well. But it's weird to see Becky Lynch without the kind of the fiery red hair, and she can't tan right now and this and that. And it's interesting to see her with a new look. But they look like a happy couple, and all the best to Becky as well as Seth Rollins there. Renee Paquette announces Oral Sessions podcast to debut this month. So she's got a podcast coming up, which is cool. No direction other than her own, so she can kind of do whatever she wants to, much the same as Lillian Garcia had done with the Chasing Glory thing before she signed back on with the WB. But that was one of the big things as far as Renee Paquette goes this week, and I'll leave it at that for now. Matt Seidel signs with AEW. That is made official on the 17th as well. Final Battle pay-per-view set for December the 18th. So ROH Final Battle, December 18th on pay-per-view. Good to see them back on pay-per-view. I think they had said their last pay-per-view was on so our ROH Final Battle 2020 of it would have been 2019, so last year. Get my dates mixed up here. Undertaker looks forward to the future in People Magazine exclusive. So the Undertaker is doing a lot of media, a lot of hype, a lot of press this week. So he did an interview with People Magazine. He had also done something to do with Snoop Dogg, I think something to do with his gear or something like that. I haven't checked that out yet, but that's available at WWE.com, as well as the People Magazine is people.com, I believe. WWE Supercard Season 7 available now. That was released on the 18th, so that is iOS as well as Android. PJ Black out of action after falling down the stairs. I don't know too much about this, so I'm going to bring up the article right now because I had heard about this but hadn't read the article yet. So I'll just roughly bring it up here. Ring of Honor talent PJ Black shared on social media pages that he recently fell down the stairs and is currently recuperating in a hospital. Black competed in the ROH Pure Title Tournament and lost the second round to Josh Woods. Since the ROH taping has been working on the NJPW Strong Show, most recently wrestled Tama Tonga in singles competition. Then he goes on to use a couple swear words, but fell down some stairs. Injuries suck, but they are necessarily apparent. Up until 5 years ago, I've never broken a bone or had surgery. Never had been stung by a bee. Fast forward to today. Broke both legs multiple times, 33 screws and a few plates in my legs and a ring finger. And he goes on to list a lot from there. Black has openly talked about multiple injuries he has suffered several years ago while base jumping. Black is 23-year veteran of the wrestling business and has been part of Impact, WB, Lucha Underground, and many more promotions as well as companies. So get well, PJ Black there. But see all the moves he does in the ring, and just imagine the guy falling down the stairs. That would be it's interesting, but get well soon. Congratulations to John Pollock of Post Wrestling, fellow Canadian there. So I'm going to bring this up because he posted on Twitter. So this was November 18th at 9:12 p.m. He goes, "Welcome, Evie, hashtag girl dad," and it's got a picture of him with a mask holding his new baby. So congratulations to John Pollock of Post Wrestling there. Huge fan of Post Wrestling, have been for since their debut, since their inauguration, so to speak. I got to see them talk live last year during right before SummerSlam. It was actually SummerSlam Sunday in Toronto, but it's kind of cool to see them in person, pictures, autographs, everything else. And then John Pollock, happy father again. So I think this I don't know if it's his first or his second. I think it's his second, but if it is his first, congratulations. If it's his second, congratulations as well. But John Pollock, congratulations, Post Wrestling over there, having a new baby announced on the 18th of the month. From there, where are we here? John, it's like baby fever going on. We talk about, and I'm a dad, I'm a husband, so I kind of get excited watching lives grow and people, become parents and families, everything else. But John Moxley, Renee Paquette expecting their first child. And Moxley did it in true wrestling fashion. So he basically cut a promo, did an interview for AEW, and he's talking about Kenny Omega. He's talking about his life as a wrestler and this and that. And all of a sudden he makes the announcement that basically his wife sitting at home is ready or is going to have a baby pretty soon. So I'm going to bring up the exact article here just so I can touch base on it just a little bit better. So yeah, John Moxley, Renee Paquette expecting their first child. On the December 2nd edition of AEW Dynamite, John Moxley is set to defend his AEW World Championship against Kenny Omega, who earned the opportunity by winning the AEW title eliminator tournament. Moxley cut a promo on tonight's Dynamite to promote the match and during said promo, he said that he has a pregnant wife at home. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, congratulatory tweets came out past that. So, it is great to see. So you got Seth Rollins becoming a dad, Jon Moxley becoming a dad. It's great to see. And then obviously John Pollock from Post Wrestling becoming a new dad as well. So a girl dad, as he put it. So I'll tell you this, daughters are tough. And I say that as a father of 3 daughters. So I've got a 2.5-year-old toddler, and she's at that stage where she doesn't necessarily listen that well. You have to tell her a couple times. She does the whole scowl look and the arms folded, and it's tough as a dad sometimes. And then on the other side of the field, I've got 2 teenage daughters. So I've got a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. And I tell my wife, because I was married once before as well, but I tell my wife it's different because of the fact you've got this window of opportunity to enjoy them as genuine, loving human beings before they just end up just becoming kind of nightmares for a couple of years. And they're learning life. And my dad could probably give me the best advice about that. He goes, get to know the new them, so to speak. But I told my wife, I think even yesterday, I said, by the time they were about 3.5, all the way through the time they were about 10, I said, enjoy it. Enjoy those 6.5, 7 years. Because once they become teenagers, they're toast. And your relationship changes so much with them. But as a father to daughters, it's even worse, because of the fact is you're always going to have that soft spot in your heart for them, So, but like I said, I don't know if Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch know what they're having yet, or Moxley and Renee Paquette. But with John Pollock, enjoy it, because it's the girl dad hashtag that you put out there is definitely true. From there, NXT WarGames set to take place December the 6th. This was announced as well this past Wednesday. So we had the huge announcement by Mox, as well as this from WWE. So superstars of NXT will soon go to battle once again in one of the sports entertainment's most brutal environments, WarGames. NXT TakeOver WarGames will take place Sunday, December 6th, streaming on the award-winning WWE Network. WarGames has featured some of the NXT's most thrilling must-see action in recent years, and we already know that Shotzi Blackheart will captain a team against Candice LeRae's squad in WarGames this year. And they go, what else is in store for what promises to be an unforgettable night? So that is November the 6th. So that is going to be interesting there. One of the other things, I don't know if they've formally announced this yet, but the fact is they've got the Undisputed Era that made the return this past Wednesday, as well as Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oni Lorcan, as well as Danny Burch. So that looks to probably be another WarGames match as well. We switch over to New Japan Pro Wrestling here. So 2 things with regards to New Japan. Best of the Super, actually 4 things, but I'll go through them quickly here. So Best of the Super Juniors update night 3. So that is, get my dates right. So that was the 19th. So that was yesterday. And why do I got the 20th? The joys of live. All right. Anyway, I'll just go through it as it's in front of me here. Best of the Super Junior 27 update night 3. So point totals as of right now. Taguchi with 4 points. Master Wado with 4 points. We got Sho with 4 points. Robbie Eagles with 4 points. Hiromu Takahashi with 4 points. We got Bushi with 2. El Desperado with 4. Yuya Uemura. Figure out how to pronounce his first name, with 0. Dookie with 0, and Taiji Ishimori with 4 as well. The big names in this one, probably to potentially win, are going to be Ishimori, Takahashi. Eagles has a shot, and then Sho is going to kind of be the dark horse, because he's normally a tag team wrestler there. From there, we go into night 4 preview. So this is the next event for them. Night 4 is going to be taking place on, that's why I had it all backwards. Night 4 is going to be taking place on Monday, November 23rd, 4 a.m. Eastern here on New Japan World here in Canada. But night 4, you've got the main event. It's going to be taking place. El Desperado taking on Master Wado. Both guys are 2-1. So then I'll go into World Tag League preview. That's what I was looking for originally. So that's kind of how I got confused here. So the update was from night 3. So for World Tag League right now, Tanahashi and Hanare, we got 0. We got Juice and Finley at 4. Goto and Yoshi at 2. Ishii and Yano at 4. Takagi and Sanada at 4. Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr., the current champions, at 4. Tama and Tonga So Guerrilla's Destiny at 4, Evil and Yujiro Takahashi at 4, Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens, Bullet Club at 0, and then the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb at 4 as well. I gotta be biased. I want to see Tama and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa win, but that's just the bias in me there. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they've got teams like Tanahashi and Hanare at 0 right now, and not much left. But it'll be interesting. You know, I also see Shingo Takagi and Sonata as well, making a play for those championships as well. So it'll be interesting to see the World Tag League to see where they go with it. But like I said, those are the current standings right there. And then you got Night 4 preview that's coming up. Night 4 is taking place on Sunday, November 22nd. So same day as Survivors. This is a busy day. So you've got Survivor Series taking place that night. You've got The Undertaker on Stone Cold Broken Skull Sessions. You've got the Patriots playing. Who the heck are they playing? I'm gonna have to double check. I think it's Tennessee, maybe. I don't know. There's a Patriots game on 1 p.m. that afternoon as well. So you got World Tag League, Patriots football, Survivor Series, and the Undertaker special on Stone Cold. So that's all taking place on Sunday. But World Tag League, like I said, Sunday, November 22nd, 3 a.m. New Japan World. And that's 3 a.m. Eastern for us here. Other big news of the week, WWE ThunderDome has been announced to be moving. And this had been rumored, but WWE made it official. And they made it official on the 19th, so yesterday. WWE ThunderDome will head to Tampa Bay's Tropicana Field beginning Friday, December the 11th. So WWE will bring its world-class viewing experience, WWE ThunderDome, Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay as it begins a new residency starting with SmackDown on Friday, December the 11th. So what's going on is basically hockey as well as basketball are making a comeback. Due to the fact that they're making a comeback, they're getting basically evicted, Rascals Treehouse style. So they don't really have the ability to have the current setup there existing night in, night out. So they had to head elsewhere. So baseball is on the shelf until March, spring training, so to speak. So when they start to get the stadium ready for baseball again, the WWE will get evicted once again. But in saying that, they've got this stadium now for, Survivor Series obviously taking place in the current Thunderdome, but they've got it set up for, I think next month it's not Hell in a Cell. What is it? TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. And then January, you will have it as Royal Rumble, which is be cool because you'll actually get to see Royal Rumble take place in the baseball stadium and the whole Thunderdome setup, everything else. So that'd be kind of cool. And then from there, I think February normally used to be Elimination Chamber. I don't know if they still do that though, just off the top of my head. And then obviously WrestleMania season coming around, but the rumor has them staying in Florida for WrestleMania this year. I haven't seen an official announcement because I know Los Angeles had been booked. But with the way things are in Florida and leniency down there, and the fact is WWE being tight with the governor, I can't see WrestleMania being anywhere else. So 37 is probably going to be taking place in Tampa Bay. And then so they'll have everything set up in Florida continuously through the month of April. So like I said, Thunderdome heading there December the 11th for SmackDown and then continuously from there. And I got to say, I'll be looking forward to Royal Rumble after that. So it'll be kind of cool. Undertaker being announced, joining Cameo for a limited time only. So fans of The Undertaker, you can pay like $1,000, I think it is, to get a cameo from The Undertaker. MLW reveals 2020 Opera Cup tournament brackets. So MLW debuted this week on, as far as Fusion goes, the restart. I'll get into the event just momentarily here, but as far as the brackets go for them, and I've got to get more organized eventually. That'll be one of my things for 2021, to be more organized. I'm trying to go by, if you see what I'm seeing here, I'm trying to go by symbols, website stuff, but I am not finding it. Oh, here we go. I've got all this New Japan stuff, and I had that. So my apologies, guys. But this is a live podcast, and I'm not getting paid to do it. So I don't necessarily care too much as long as I'm having fun and you guys are enjoying listening to me. But MLW Opera Cup is taking place. So this coming Wednesday, November 25th, 7 o'clock p.m. it starts. And you got Tom Lawler, Filthy Tom Lawler taking on Rocky Romero. Laredo Kid taking on ACH. You got Richard Holiday taking on TJP. And Loki, who's been seemingly around forever, taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr., who was the 2019 Opera Cup winner. So look forward to that on some new MLW. I don't think they're doing the Underground series anymore based on the fact they are back. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with the tournament and where they go with the championship. And I'll get into that just momentarily here as well. Alexa Bliss says her contract expires in 3.5 years. She recently got engaged, so congratulations to her. I know a lot of fanboys out there probably crying still, but good news for her. It's congratulations. Last week was Carolyn Carolyn from Sportsnet. That's my new name for her. Red. She pronounces so well in the show, and the other guys do too. Anyways, but she got engaged last week, and then Alexa Bliss gets engaged this week. So, guys, they're going down in numbers as far as being single goes. As far as those blonde hotties. Undertaker takes care of business while eating spicy wings. That's on an episode of Hot Ones right now on YouTube. I think it's 28 minutes long, and I just caught wind of it today, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. But I mean, here's a guy from Texas being 6'8", 6'9", whatever he is, and basically there's one shot of him basically saying, "Oh my God, who eats this stuff?" So it's it looks pretty cool from there. Last little bit of news: Court Bauer, MLW again. Chris Jericho Talk, MLW and More, that was released today. So Talk is Jericho featuring Court Bauer. So listen to those guys have a go. And then WWE executive John Brody let go by the WWE. The reason I bring this up, because the WWE, like I said, is not going to have a very good 2021 as far as what they consider their current the way they currently do things. And I say that because of the fact that, like I said, Andrew Yang, and then you've got SAG-AFTRA as well. And then basically they're going and saying, oh, house shows aren't going to exist when COVID's done. They're basically going and saying, hey, we're going to release this person, make the hugest profits for our company ever. And then they're releasing people that matter to them. So according to Mike Johnson, PW Insider, WWE released John Brody, who was the executive vice president, global head of sales and partnerships, and head of international. Like, to me, it's going to sound bad, but how dare them? You know what I mean? It's they've got guys with careers and lives and dealing with COVID the same way everybody else is. And they continuously release people. And it's that whole kind of 80s mentality, it's like we're the WWE. We can do whatever the heck we want to. And I think that other shoe next year is going to fall. And just when you see stuff like this taking place and you hear about stuff like this taking place, and I mean, it's one guy who I've never heard of his name before today, but it's still somebody who feeds his family. So somebody has a life, still somebody who has a legacy with the WB and has helped them grow. And I say that on the heels of last week talking about Tony Chimmel, and that sucked. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, and it's the WWE. But I think it's only a matter of time before company, once COVID's over, even like an MLW decides to maybe take number one spot, or, New Japan Pro Wrestling invades America properly and they take number one spot. I'm hit and miss about AEW, and I'll get into that in another show. But WB, I think, like I said, the other shoe's going to fall for 2021, and they're not looking into, they're not, I don't think they're going to have a good 2021. I'll just leave it at that. Highlights of the week: New Day retain over the Hurt Business on Raw. Retribution defeats Lee, so Keith Lee, Riddle, Strowman, and Sheamus. Yeah, good for that. So they're going into the Survivor Series with these 5 guys, including AJ Styles, and yet they have Retribution beat them on Raw. Yeah, good way to book WWE. Bray Wyatt defeats The Miz, and then Drew McIntyre becomes new champion. So you got Drew McIntyre set up against Roman Reigns for Survivor Series. Downside of this is, why not have just kept the title on him to build the feud for about 3-4 more weeks? They had Drew McIntyre appear on SmackDown last week. They had him win the title this week, and now all of a sudden they're basically saying, force feeding a feud between these two guys days before the show. And it's, again, WWE booking. AEW Dark highlights, haven't seen this yet, but TNT was back on. So Devon's boys taking on Jurassic Express. Couldn't find the match, flipping through it. Like I said, I haven't watched it, but it is there. So if you want to see Devon's boys again, check out AEW Dark from this past week. Impact highlights: Havoc and Nevaeh defeats Alicia and Tenille. Scott D'Amore TJP segment was cool because the fact is Scott D'Amore kept saying you can't ever wrestle for the Impact X Division Championship again as TJP. Think outside the box. Think like Dusty Rhodes. Think outside the box. So I think Manic's going to end up making a comeback. So we're going to probably see Manic back in Impact Wrestling there. Trey Miguel, Rich Swann defeats Dez and Wentz in their final showing for Impact Wrestling. Like I had said last show, as well as this one, huge loss for Impact Wrestling. If they end up with the WB, if it's 3 of them or 2 of them, hopefully they end up booking them right. But I tell you this, guys like Ricochet, guys like Pete Dunne, guys like Aleister Black, There's been a lot of guys who basically had all the potential in the world to become superstars, and WWE has failed in doing anything with them. And I think the Rascals, as much as I am a fan, as much as I loved watching them on Impact Wrestling, I think are going to get buried as well over there. They'll get the exposure, they'll get the payout, but I think you don't expect much from the Rascals, and that's unfortunate there. And then Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock attacked backstage, so they left the Rascals laying, as well as Rich Swann. And I'm not looking forward to the fact that they may be putting the Impact Wrestling Championship on Ken Shamrock, being the age that he's at. So if they go that route, it's a step in the wrong direction. And as far as what I feel, anyways. ROH this week: Briscoes defeat the Soldiers of Savagery. Shane Taylor defeats Kenny King. AEW highlights: Inner Circle slays Vegas, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a take on the Hangover movies there. Best part about it was Swoggle. And he's crying like a baby, and then they open the doors, and Swoggles is sitting there in a friggin' diaper on the floor. But it was a good comedy there. Orange Cassidy defeats Kip Sabian. That's kind of surprising me that they're going that route with Orange Cassidy, considering the fact Kip Sabian has all the potential in the world, especially with Miro as well as his future wife there. Moxley has his promo, so again announces Renee Paquette pregnant at home. Very good promo. Moxley is just good on the mic. It's all there is to it. Omega and Mox contract signing didn't take place because Moxley got laid out. Kenny Omega, dressed up in his suit, kind of saw right through it. He was kind of like, you know what? I've seen this before. He goes, I'm signing this contract. Moxley, you can do this again, but we're going to have this match on December the 2nd. So Pac made his return, defeats the Blade. Death Triangle are back. So Phoenix comes out and attacks, and obviously the family, so to speak, beat up on Phoenix. And then basically Pentagon has come out with a chair. They're all just kind of standing there. Phoenix is right down below him. And it's like, okay, which side he's going to choose? And he goes to swing at Kingston. He takes off, goes to swing at, I think, Pepper, I think the Blade at this point. He takes off, and then all of a sudden the Death Triangle reunites. So Death Triangle, which is Pac, Phoenix, as well as Pentagon, back together, which is great. Serena Deeb defeats Thunder Rosa to retain the NWA World Women's Championship. Brian Cage, Ricky Starks defeats Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin in the main event, which was great. And then we see a Hobbs heel turn. So we see Hobbs come out, basically rush off Cage as well as Starks and Taz at this point. Takes the FTW title, holds it up, and then he ends up, I think, knocking, I think it was Cody with it. It might have been Allen. I think it was actually Allen. And then next thing you know, he joins basically Taz's FTW group there. And then December 2nd, Winter is Coming is the official term that goes along with that show. So not Impact, but AEW Dynamite. Winter is Coming on December 2nd is the official name of that show for AEW Dynamite. MLW highlights: Myron Reed defeats Brian Pillman Jr. to retain the middleweight championship. Jacob Fatu defeats Davey Boy Smith Jr. to retain the heavyweight championship in the main event. So MLW, the restart, started out strong over there. NXT highlights: Leon Ruff defeats Gargano by DQ. Priest ends up hitting Ruff. And then, did he hit Ruff? I think he hit. Anyway, he cost the match by DQ. So Priest was part of that. It'd be interesting to see if how long Ruff hangs on the title, because they were like, oh, well, he's just gonna basically lose the title next week. He didn't lose it, so he's still champ. Loomis and Grimes fought to a no contest in blindfold match. I put Ouch Hornet to this because he ended up getting blasted by Grimes. So Daryl Sharma of Ontario Independent Wrestling, love the guy. Anyways, he took a shot on screen there. So still looking good for an old guy. Kushida defeats Arturo Ruiz. Storm and Moon defeats Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Io Shirai retains against Rhea Ripley. Balor promo, he come out, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he gets surrounded by Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch. And then the Undisputed Era made the return and the save. So it is cool to see, who is it? Finn Balor as well as Adam Cole kind of on the same page right now. But how does that set in? It's whether or not he's healthy enough to be part of WarGames. Now, like I said, obviously it's going to be UE, so Undisputed Era taking on McAfee, Dunn, Lorcan, and Burch. But how does Finn Balor play into that? It'll be interesting to see. NXT UK highlights: Kaylee Ray defeats Piper Niven in the Falls Count Anywhere match to retain. Quickly go through the ratings here. Raw, 1.778 million viewers, 0.51 in the 18 to 49 demo, fifth of the night. Canada, they had 500,000 viewers, 113,200 in the 25 to 54 demo. and second for the night in sports behind NFL Monday Night Football, of course. AEW 850, they had a 0.37 in the 18 to 49 demo, seventh for the night. And then NXT was 638 with a 0.14 in the 18 to 49 demo and did not make the top 50, unfortunately. So it'd be interesting to see how NXT turns the page. If I were to say off the top of my head how to do it, go to Tuesday nights, NXT and Vince McMahon and Triple H and all you guys, but they won't do it. And hopefully 2021, maybe they see a different night for them. Smackdown preview tonight, WWE title versus Universal title Survivor Series contract signing. So we'll get Seth Rollins taking on Murphy as well. Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. 205 live preview. Nothing listed as far as what I've seen. They might have updated it since I've started the show. And then New Japan Strong preview taking place 10 p.m. tonight on New Japan World. David Finlay challenging Kenta for the U.S. briefcase. And I will say this on that note, because somebody had mentioned it on a podcast I was listening to. And I was, I think on one of the shows, it might have been last week, I was talking about Moxley versus Omega. And I can't see them putting the title on Omega yet. Excuse me. I'm going to change my mind on that. And this is because this makes sense. Omega wins the championship. Moxley takes some time off to head over to Japan. He's got a pregnant wife at home, and it's quarantined pretty much everywhere, and he really can't do much. Wrestle Kingdom's coming up. Moxley is the current IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, and he needs to be there. So the fact is, how do you put him over there in Japan and still have him wrestle for AEW? Will you take him off of AEW, give him a hiatus for a good maybe month and a half, 6 weeks, have Omega and the Young Bucks or Omega and whoever else give him a huge beatdown to the point that he can't come back for a while. Storyline wise, you can explain it on TV. They take the break through Christmas time anyways. And Omega is strong champion going into 2021. And then you've got basically Moxley going over there to Japan to defend and probably lose the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But he is part of Wrestle Kingdom. He is part of New Year's Dash. And I love it as a fan. So at this point, I'm going to change my mind. I will probably do maybe a prediction show for the AEW, the winter show. But at this point, yeah, because of that podcast I listened to, it makes sense. I'm going to say Omega takes the title so Moxley can go over there and work Japan. This weekend, obviously, WWE Survivor Series 2020 taking place. I'm not going to talk about it because if you want to listen to my thoughts, my predictions, you can listen to CWN Predicts live Sunday, 3 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitch. And then CWN Recap, of course, taking place on Sunday about 11:15-ish, whenever the pay-per-view ends. And I will go through the matches, my thoughts, obviously a big Undertaker weekend. So, yeah, guys, you want to hear my thoughts on Survivor Series, check out Predicts on Sunday as well as Recap on Sunday. Saying that, last little bit of news about Survivor Series. I'm doing top 10 Survivor Series of all time. So in the 37 years, including this year, obviously 36 years, whatever the case may be, I'm doing top 10. So today is number 3. I'll spill it here early before I release on the website. But number 3 for me is WWF Survivor Series 1990. So that is the Undertaker debut. And to me, as a wrestling fan, I was a fan of the gimmicks. So obviously, you got the Ultimate Warrior mask behind me there. Any of the painted up guys as well. So you had it's kind of cool because you had You had Ultimate Warrior, Texas Tornado, and the Road Warriors as a tag team. Taking on, it was the Axe Smash and Crush, and I think it was Perfect. I think it was Perfect and Demolition. But guys, check that out. It's WWF Survivor Series 1990. It is on the WWE Network as well as YouTube. But it also is the debut of The Undertaker almost 30 years ago. So 30 years minus 2 days. So guys, check that out. And like I said, I was a huge fan of the gimmicks back then. MMA, quickly, I'll go through it. Bellator 253 results. AJ McKee defeats Darian Caldwell via submission round 1. That was the main event. That was yesterday. UFC releases Anderson Silva. Bellator MMA, not interesting. So that might be the end of Anderson Silva, the Spider. He had a legacy, but he let it go too long. And when his last MMA fight, his last UFC fight, he got owned. And it was unfortunate, but the fact is he... it might be the end of his MMA career. No retirement announced officially, but he has been released by UFC, so he is a free agent, so to speak. One championship Inside the Matrix 4 took place live this morning. That's on YouTube. You'll see it posted as well in its entirety on cwnonline.ca, as well as UFC 255 taking place tomorrow. So any fans of UFC 255 with the UFC brand, Figueroa taking on Perez. And I'm just going to quickly bring that up because it is a big UFC event. Again, is one of the paid ones, though. So you guys, if you want to check it out, it'll be UFC Fight Pass, or if you have Rogers, you'll be able to get it on pay-per-view up here in Canada. Event takes place 10 o'clock tomorrow, UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. The prelims, though, in the early prelims, like I said, they are always free. So the event itself, Divison Figueredo. I'm going to get these names right. That'll be another goal for 2021 is to get better on my MMA. Taking on Alex Perez in the main event. That's a flyweight championship belt. Prelims, excuse me, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. They'll be on TSN 5, so that is for free. And the early prelims taking place 6:30 p.m. That will be on UFC Fight Pass, as well as taking place on TSN 5 as well for free. So guys, that is it for UFC. That is it for pro wrestling. And as you know, if you're a fan of the show, now it's time to take a break. Me get some water into me, as well as get rid of these graphics and bring up this promo. And it's been a busy week, so I still haven't had the time to merge the two videos. But Ryan Knight of the Knights of the Squared Circle is one. I will make sure that's up next week. But we do have Sean Bates' Scumbags of Wrestling, his new Christmas promo there. So I'm going to play that, take a small break, and I'll be right back with Canadian Independent Wrestling, guys. So sit back.
Hey wrestling fans, it's Sean from the Scumbags of Wrestling. It might not look like Christmas right now, but it is around the corner, and you won't want to miss out on this amazing deal in support of Sick Kids Hospital on behalf of Steven's Wrestling Journey. Right now, if you contact me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com, you'll get this amazing t-shirt designed by Nigel Lewis for just $30. And because it's Christmas, I'm going to throw in this stocking stuffer of a poster, 11 by 17, for free. Now you can still get this poster for $15, but you can get the whole combo for $30 right now until December 15th. So contact me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com and support Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto and Steven's Wrestling Journey.
So if that music doesn't make you feel festive, I don't know what will. But anyways, in all seriousness, yeah, Sean does a good thing over there at the Scumbags of Wrestling for Steven's Wrestling Journey, as well as the Sick Kids in hospital in Toronto there. So you can check that out. Scumbags of Wrestling is facebook.com/groups/Scumbags of Wrestling, as well as scumbags.ca, or you can email Sean for more information, scumbagsofwrestling@gmail.com. So this is the point of the show. I talk about independent wrestling here in Canada. Hashtag we are CIW. You can go to CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca. You can get, you'll be able to access the group that way. So check that out. Oh, had a drink of water and now I get gas again. A couple shows taking place, and I'm not sure if they actually are. I know 2 are for sure. The other ones I couldn't find any kind of confirmation on, which is going to lead me into to something. But I want to say this. CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca, like I said, that forwards you to the group. We have 386 members on Facebook right now. I'm proud of that. So thank you very much, guys. Like I said, CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca will forward you to the Facebook group. But that group is for promoters and talent and podcasters. Anybody who wants to get their name out there, their shirt designs, whatever the case may be, they want to let people know what's going on as far as their gimmick goes or their promotion goes. What's coming up next, so to speak. And my cat has just come over to say hello, and I've got this set up behind me, and I'm hoping he doesn't go jumping. Go get there. He went back to his food dish. Anyways, the joys of a live show anyways. But like I said, guys, 386 members for the Facebook group itself. So thank you very much. The push for 400 continues for the end of the year. Again, like I said, if you're a promoter, if you're a talent, a podcaster, whatever the case may be, get your stuff on there, get your content on there. Let me know. Let us know what's taking place here in Canada. And I'm loving it because a lot of interaction takes place on a weekly basis there. So 386 taking place. The shows I'm not sure are still taking place. I went on their Facebook earlier on today. RCW Friday Night Fights in Calgary, Alberta was scheduled for the 20th and 27th. Couldn't get any confirmation that they're still taking place. RCW Saturday Night Fights in Edmonton, Alberta taking place on the 21st, which would have been tomorrow. No confirmation if that's still taking place as well. And the reason I say that because the COVID-19, everything taking place, here in Ontario, I know what's going on as far as COVID goes because it's local news to us, so to speak. Manitoba, I know what they're experiencing right now. BC, I've heard about what they're experiencing right now. I don't know about Alberta. I think I'd seen something with regards to Calgary and Edmonton being the hotspots, the hotbed, so to speak. So I'm not sure if any live shows are still taking place out there in Alberta. One of the things I'd seen as well was this, and that relates to RCW, so Real Canadian Wrestling, by the way. MPW, which is also out there in Alberta, so Monster Pro Wrestling, released, I think it was yesterday. So MPW Into the Layer Episode 1, MK Singh versus Rugged Rich King was released yesterday on YouTube. And the two guys doing the YouTube video in the beginning, one I think was the head trainer, the other guy was the spokesman or the owner of MPW, stating because of COVID, they still want to get wrestling out there, but they couldn't do wrestling the same way. So now they're doing the YouTube series. Like I said, MPW Into the Layer Episode 1. So it makes me think that wrestling might not be taking place in Alberta right now. Feel free to hit me up, feedback at cwnonline.ca, and let me know for sure. I'll do my best to try to find out sometime this week. But I don't think there's two shows. So our RCW Friday Night Fights or Saturday Night Fights are taking place. The ones that seem to be taking place, I haven't heard anything else of it. I know one is for sure, but the other one is UCW Presents Top of the Class, taking place November 28th, Halifax, Nova Scotia. I don't think there's any limitations down there, so I think that one's still taking place. And they were talking about it, I think, up until about 2 days ago on their social media accounts, so I think it's still taking place. The other show I know which is taking place because it's an iPay-per-view is NSW History in the Making, taking place 4 p.m. November 29th, so a week from Sunday on iPay-per-view for $13.99. So that is NSW New School Wrestling. And of course, taking place at the end of the year, so Christmas Eve for free. Go Hard Pro Ontario Indie Holiday Special for free on YouTube on Christmas Eve. And stay posted for that because I'll make sure I get the details out to everybody once I know them there. Before I head into the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, I want to say this. So I've thought about what I want to do. Like I miss doing interviews. And this is 14 shows now for CWN Weekly, as well as the recap shows, as well as the prediction shows. The one thing I'm missing that I had set up originally was CWN interviews. And in saying that, I've thought about what I want to do. And, when you see the stuff, I guess, on a weekly basis posted by a lot of talented individuals here in Ontario and across the world with regards to interviews, it's like, why do I want to interview somebody who's already been interviewed by somebody who's kind of local? You know what I mean? And I don't know if I put that best, but the fact is, say George Mackay, for example, does great interviews and, great individual with a lot of support here in Ontario. And he does great interviews, but I don't want to necessarily interview the same people as him. So I was thinking about it. I was like, who do I want to interview? Well, and you've heard me talk about this on the show as well. I've always been a fan of the people behind the scenes, the promoters, the media guys, the commentators, any of those guys there. TNT, when I was doing Thursday Night Throwdown, I did an interview with Mike Maloney out there in Alberta. And it was nice because it was a fresh interview. And, I kind of had to do a little bit of research about it. Mike was a great guest. And I enjoyed doing that because of the fact he has his hand in the Alberta, independent wrestling scene. So in saying that, I may start next week, but I want to do a promoter series. And doing a promoter series is I want to be able to talk to the promoters here in Ontario, Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, Quebec, the Maritimes. Talk to the people that are down there that know about what's going on, how COVID's taking place, how it's affecting their business, what they're doing to maintain. And I think it'd be a great series leading into Christmas time. So hopefully maybe I get 4 shows out of it. And what I'll do is I'll release probably the interviews as part of this show. But what I'll do is create the CWN interview series and then basically create those separately as well. So I'm going to start touching base and looking for promoters to reach out to in the next couple of days. And we'll see if we can get one on for next week's show. Just to be able to talk about the backside of the pro wrestling business, the independent wrestling business, and how COVID's related and what they're doing to stay afloat and this and that. Back when I was doing TNT, you'd see us doing interviews with Clarence Dewsome as well as Doug Trenter from Midwestern Wrestling. And, I miss doing the stuff like that. Talent is great as well. I love doing interviews with talent. But like I said, we got guys like George Mackay out there and even, Ryan Knight. I want to do something different. So, I think next week I'm going to look to have a promoter on here and then we'll see where we go into leading up until Christmas time there. So, guys, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame exists. And it's not necessarily yet a reality, but it will be on January 18th, 2021, the 12th anniversary of CWN. So I'm going to do a live show on Monday, January 20. Scratch that, go back and delete that. January 18th, 2021. That's an hour of talking right there from me. But guys, I am excited about it. I was going to do the promos, but I think I'm going to stitch those together as well. I'm a little bit OCD, so I'd like to have everything kind of as perfect as possible. But categories for Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame are this. So you get the legend category, you get the male wrestler category, you get the female wrestler category, you get the tag team category. You've also got the sharpshooter category, which is dedicated to Canadian independent wrestling male star with the potential to exceed or excel in the business. Siren category, the same thing, but it's a female. So the female who's destined to succeed or excel in the business. You've also got the honor award as well as the MMA award. The honor award is dedicated to a promoter or media guy, announcer, so to speak, who's basically has excelled in the business. So we're talking the likes of Jimmy Corderas, guys like Ed Whalen, guys like Sweet Daddy Siki. My wife learned that name. She goes, Siki? No, I said Sweet Siki. And then she says, Siki? And no, it's like, no, Sweet Daddy Siki. There was a special on not too long ago about him, so I've got to watch that as well. But and then the last category is the MMA category, so devoted to mixed martial arts guys here in Canada who have excelled in that field, as well as last but not least, there's a category number 9 that will be live revealed on the show on Monday, January 18th. 2021. That is a secret to us. We'll not reveal it until then, but is a very special category that was decided amongst the three of us, myself, Sean Bates, and Christine. On January 18th, we will reveal that 9th category there. So I'm excited about that. Check out cpwhof.ca at cpwhof.ca to make your vote count. You'll see a little title at the very top of the page. It says 2021 class. There you'll see the links to vote. 1 vote per person. So you have to have a Facebook account to be able to do a vote. I just wanted to make sure it was legitimate. So that's hence the fact Facebook, you can only vote once. But guys, check that out, cpwhof.ca, and look for the 2021 class there. From there, that is pretty much it for the show. I'll announce this, CWN Online. Our next couple shows are this. Oh, excuse me. CWN predicts WWE Survivor Series 2020 taking place live this Sunday, 3 p.m. Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. CWN recap WWE Survivor Series 2020 taking place live this coming Sunday, 11 p.m.-ish, depending when the show goes off the air. That's live, Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. And then the next edition, CWN Weekly, will be episode number 15, taking place November 27th, so live next Friday. Timing is either usually 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. I know today we went at 3:30 p.m. I was going to do a premiere, but then I was like, you know what? No, I'll just do a live show and just get through it. And so November 27th for episode number 15, that'll be 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. for that show live on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube there. So as always, you can always email the show, feedback at cwnonline.ca for any questions, comments, ideas that you have for the show itself. Guys, if you have any ideas for promoters that you want me to get in touch with, feedback at cwnonline.ca. Let me know who you want to see on the show for next week, who you think would be an interesting interview. You can reach, like I said, feedback at cwnonline.ca, or feel free to reach out to me personally, Chris at cwnonline.ca, and I'll make sure I get out to the person that you've mentioned, and then see if we can land an interview for next week there. So that is it for that. I'll get rid of this one last banner here. And then here is my Twitter as well as my Instagram. So at Chris Maloney CWN, you can reach me through, like I said, Twitter as well as Instagram if you want to follow me over there. If you've watched this or like this, of course, like it. But if you watch this or listen to it, please give us a like or give us a subscribe. Help us increase the numbers for CWN here. And maybe one day we'll have episode 1400 and not just necessarily episode 14. So I have enjoyed doing this. It was a new undertaking undertaking. There you go. There's your Survivor Series reference. But it was a new thing for me to do. I wanted to focus, like I said, more on the website itself and the whole CWN brand. And saying that, if you're looking for Christmas ideas, if you go to cwnonline.ca, there is merch, so you can check out the merch aspect of it. You can buy a face mask, with the CWN logo on it. So check that out as well. But I have enjoyed doing this. And again, all I want to do is see this grow. And like I said, Canadian Independent Wrestling, the Facebook group, that has been growing. So thank you very much. Stats for the show have been growing. So thank you very much. Stats for the website would have been growing. So thank you for that. And like I said, I want to be able to do more interviews. I actually do interviews for CWN as far as this show goes. So look for that. And like I said, hopefully next week for it. So until then, that is it until next week. Thanks, guys. Check out the website, CWNonline.ca. Check me out at Chris Maloney, CWN. And look for more information about the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame next week, because we're getting close to the end of the votes. And check out Survivor Series this coming weekend. And like I said, CWN predicts as well as a recap taking place on Sunday. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you again.